Ms. Kent, let's get your opening statement, please.
Oh, sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and for hosting this event, and also for making sure it was not 100 degrees this evening. Very awesome. My name is Sandra Kent. I currently hold position 3 on the Richland City Council. For those of you who haven't met me before, I've been in Richland for not quite 20 years. I'm originally from Kansas City. I'm married. My husband has 2 children. They're young adults, and they're currently contributing to the community. And I've been sitting on the Richland City Council for, I think, about 6 or 7 years, after spending not quite 2 years on the Richland Planning Commission. I decided to run for re-election because I believe that it is important to ensure that not only that we have qualified and capable people on the Richland Council, but that I believe that I still bring passion to what I do, and that in all the decisions that I vote on, I'm trying to do the best for the community. And I think that's very important, and that's why I decided to run again.
Thank you. Ms. Regeb.
Hi, my name is Sheer, and I'm actually sitting here right now because of all things a Jolly Rancher. So my family moved to Richland in 1978, and we were living in the Cherry Lane apartments. So whenever my brother and I had a little bit of pocket change, we'd go over to the 7-Eleven on Jadwin, you know the one I'm talking about, and invariably we would buy Jolly Ranchers because you could get a lot of them for not very much money. And one time we were actually trying to figure out which flavors we wanted, and I remember the woman behind the register went over and she took my brother and I by the arm and took us out into the parking lot. I was 5, I didn't speak English, I didn't know what was going on, but I know it made me feel like I had done something wrong, and it made me feel like I wasn't welcome. So when I saw this back and forth between Love Not Hate and the City Council over inclusion, for some reason, it struck a very deep chord inside of me, and I realized that inclusion, it's not just about this group or that group, it's about a dynamic that we have right now where residents don't feel like they're being included in the business of the council. They don't feel like they're really being included in the decision-making process. And I want to change that. So I hope that you vote for me and that together we can help create a dynamic between the city government and the citizens of Richland, the residents of Richland, to create a community that we're all proud of and we all feel that we are an active part of, not just that we live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Becker.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Becker, and I'm running for position 3 also. And I've noticed that people are not, and I do mean not, being included into the conversation at the City Council. The City Council continually has disdain for the people of the city, and they look down their nose every time they check in. Now, the last time I went to a city council meeting is when I had a councilman stand up and challenge me while I was at the podium. Now, I don't get that very much, but when I do get it, it just really rankles me. So the reason why I am running is to bring sanity back, bring some rules and policies back. They are now working without some rules and without some policies, and they're going by what they call as a value-based. What's value-based? How much money is this, or how much money is that? Where does it go? I'm not saying this or that, but we're going to bring some rules back. And with that Dupertale Bridge, I'm going to vote to delay that program. There is better sources of funding that are out there, and they're not looking for either way of trying to figure out, because they want to steal $20 out of a grandma's fixed income. What happens if that medicine happens to be life-saving medicine? That's going to kill her. Thank you.
Mr. Becker, thanks a lot. We're going to move on to question 1. We'll start with Ms. Kent. It's a pretty long question. So here we go. The Rachel Road Alignment Study will be presented to the Community Advisory Committee alternative. They're going to present that particular study to the City Council on July 18th. Now, the Rachel Road extension provides connectivity for traffic from Steptoe Road and Leslie Road. The road impacts the Amon Creek Natural Preserve. It also provides access for potentially 320 homes and a new elementary school. It also gives an alternative route to the Clay Bell Park and the Bellarive Drive. Plus, you also must consider hikers, bicyclists, emergency vehicles as well. So here's the question based on all that. What questions would you ask this committee to be sure that they considered and balanced the varied needs of the area that the Rachel Road Extension project is going to impact?
That's a good question. Although we did recently have a presentation at a recent council workshop regarding the alignment study, and had an opportunity to take a look at some of the public feedback and input regarding the preferred alignment. What pleased me greatly, based upon the public input that has already been received, is that the alignment that will be proposed basically preserves the Amon Preserve in a larger contiguous piece than having to chop it up. Also, it is very amenable with respect to reducing the speed of traffic that will go through the area. And so I would hazard to guess that at the official meeting, my questions will most likely mirror the positive aspects of the preferred alignment that were presented by the consultant, because I think it really does reflect listening to the input from the community, and it represents a good balance between the need to have the alignment against the need to also preserve natural open space, our natural vegetation fauna, and also ensuring that the school will ultimately have good traffic flow in and out, as well as the residents.
Thank you. Mr. Gibb.
So I was also at that workshop meeting where the consultants presented their finding for the Rachel Road alignment. And, you know, because I am new to the process, I can't pretend that I'm an expert on it. But my question is always going to be, what are the other alternatives? Because people have been living there for years now, and there are existing roads, and you can't get to these areas. I looked at the map, like Bellarive is an example of that. And are there better ways to do it rather than punch through yet another road? I think that's one of the concerns that some people have, not everybody, about the pace of development that's happening in Richland, because you give away these open spaces, and once they're gone, they don't come back. I mean, I grew up not far from the Amon Preserve, and I remember being able to go out the backyard, go jogging, be in the sagebrush, see all these jackrabbits, and see the mallards, and there's barely anything left there. So what can we do to save that? Because it's not coming back. And that would be my question, is like, what are the other alternatives? Because I don't know that those were actually presented by the consultants.
Thank you. Mr. Becker.
I don't know too much about the Rachel Road stuff, but from what I'm gathering is that when the Rachel Road, what do you call that, project came up, complex or whatever you want to call it, it caused Kennewick to run down there and build a school or something or other, and now one hand made the other hand unhappy. So I really don't know too much about the Rachel Road, but from what I understand, there is a lot of unhappy feelings going on around about that Rachel Road.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Becker. We're going to move to question 2. Mr. Gibb, we'll start with you. Are there areas in the current city budget where you would like to see an increase or decrease in spending, and why do you think such a change would benefit the city?
That's a good question. So in looking at the budget, as somebody from outside the council, it's a difficult question for me to answer, but I can tell you what I would like to see. And that would be some more spending for outreach service for the homeless, because I know right now pretty much it falls on the county and it falls on like local charitable organizations, and I want to see a city take a more active role in it. A good place I feel to start is finding additional funding for the police department to start doing regular bicycle patrols in the park. You know, I go out there either walking or jogging, and I see what's happening, you know, with my own eyes. And we have an opportunity to talk to individuals who are being impacted by the increasing cost of living in the Tri-Cities, or whether they have mental health issues or drug dependency issues, and reach out to them before they end up going even to the mental health court, because that's also a drain on the budget. So if I could do one thing, like just pull it out of my hat in my dream world, it would be to find more funding to do outreach for homeless members in the community, and also find more funding to create opportunities for first-time home buyers to get property in Richland, because I think annually we're helping about 19 families a year, and we can do better than that.
Thank you. Mr. Becker?
Could you please say again the question?
Sure thing. Are there areas in the current city budget where you think you would like to see an increase or even a decrease in spending? And why do you think such a change would benefit the city?
In decreasing some of the spending, I think all of our capital projects need to go back and have another look and get reevaluated. I think under that, we can be able to lower the cost of what we're doing. And then I used to serve on the committee for that disperses HUD dollars for the Elijah House or for the homeless, and I can see increasing that particular end of the budget to encompass that. I've also been looking at these little tiny homes, like 250 square, 300 square feet. Some places want outrageous, but some of them want the homeless to buy it for $1 a month until it's paid off, for whatever dollar amount that they're selling it for. Seattle's been into that. I think they did $2 million worth of little homes, and we can do stuff like that around here. It's not going to hurt the city of Richland to give up some of this motel and hotel type business, and let's work with the homeless a little bit. Let's reevaluate a lot of these capital projects, and let's clean up some of the infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Ms. Kent?
Well, the current city budget is pretty trim as it is, but, you know, hypothetically, if we could increase spending, we know from the community surveys that, you know, our parks and also safety for our families are of utmost importance to us. And so, you know, if there were additional monies, it would be awesome to perhaps accelerate the program to get additional lighting on our park trails so that they're safer for people to walk along in the twilight and in the evenings. Certainly, there are additional things that we can do at the community center to make that amenity more valuable to the groups that currently use it. And then also, you know, additional monies could be spent in the library. Currently, you know, we have some amazing programs right now, including, you know, the opening of the makerspace, and there are so many other programs that we could be hosting, you know, at the library if we did have additional dollars available. And as I mentioned at the last function, the 2018 budget is currently on its way rolling out, and that is an opportunity for not only the council members but also members of the public to weigh in regarding where we want our dollars spent in 2018.
Thank you. We'll move on to question 3. Mr. Becker, we will start with you. Here's the question. What is your definition of diversity, and in your opinion, does the city of Richland adhere to it?
Diversity has too many different meanings. Diversity means what's your lifestyle. Diversity means what's your skin color. Diversity means this, or diversity means that. Diversity means something else. I don't stick my finger on one particular diversity subject or another, but if you really want me to lay down on a diversity, then why don't we have diversity of businesses here? We can have a pizza shop. What about a grocery store? What about this shop? What about something else? I don't care if it's ran by a man, woman, or a Martian, but the whole point is, why don't we have diversity in that particular nature instead of saying, oh, well, your skin is this. But we're not diverse enough. We need to get somebody over here that's a different skin. Or my lifestyle is different than yours. And no, diversity is what you really want to make it. Diversity is it's what we call subjective, never objective. It's always subjective. And that's where I'm going to leave it.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Kent.
I think at times the definition of diversity can be pretty simple. I mean, it's just the difference, right? It's when someone or something is just not like you or is different from your background or experience. How does the current Richland Council reflect that diversity? You know, we've got full-timers and part-timers. We've got small business owners and people who are employees for companies. You know, we have people who have, known Richland as their home all their lives. And, we have transplants. We have, Hanford, non-Hanford people. We have disabled, not disabled people. I think that when you look at our decision-making, particularly in the past 2 years, we are not cookie-cutter at all. We have had some very avid dialogue and discussion on the podium that has led to, in my opinion, good decision-making, because that's what you want. You want to see the difference on the podium, even though sometimes it might be uncomfortable, to make sure that there has been a full and complete conversation before the body itself votes on how we're going to manage the BPA increases, or how we're going to approve different kinds of real estate transactions, or what we're going to do in the parks.
Thank you. Ms. Regeb.
So, to me, I go back to diversity the way I think most people in the audience are thinking about diversity, as in like the community of individuals that live in Richland, the different types of people that we have, how we interact with each other, and how we're made to feel. And I feel like Richland did have its vision statement in 2001, and it's progressive city, and we get that, but that was 16 years ago, and it's time to revisit it, because I am the first openly LGBTQ candidate in Benton County who's seeking public office that we're aware of. And there are experiences we have here, that aren't necessarily welcoming. And diversity to me should be that you are happy in the community that you live in, that you're proud of the community that you live in, that you tell your friends, I live in Richland and it's great because of this, 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 this. Not, I live in Richland, it's okay, but I wish this could change about it. And I'm not talking about, well, maybe they could, recycle the glass when they do curbside collection. I'm talking about, I can go into any store. I can go buy flowers. I can go order pizza, and I don't have to worry that service is going to be denied to me. And I think that's diversity, and the city can do a lot in encouraging that environment within the community, because we could be doing better. I'm not saying we're bad, but we could be doing a lot better than we are.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to question 4. It is from the audience, and we will start with Ms. Kent on this. Besides a tax on car tabs, what funding for the Dupertail Bridge would you look into?
Well, there are a number of funding options that were examined. My preference, of course, was the toll. I can see Mayor Thompson cringing now. But the cost of installing a passive toll system and thus also administering it on an annual basis was very expensive. And also when we calculated the amount of monies on average that a user would pay by utilizing a toll system, the number was north of $1,000. We also looked at other kinds of funding options, possibly, councilmatic bonds, sending out independent bonds, and we decided that it just didn't math out. We also looked at increasing property tax, but we were very sensitive to the fact that the school district had recently increased the property tax, and as a result, we did not believe that was the appropriate thing to do. We also looked at possibly raising the sales tax, which there were a number number of Richland residents who felt that that was more equitable, but when we also ran the math, we believed that it would end up costing people more than, the $20 tap fee. So those are an example in 90 seconds or less regarding some of the options we looked at over the almost last 5 years in how to fund the Dupertail Bridge.
Thank you, Ms. Regev.
Well, I think that Sandra did such a good job with the first answer, and that's the advantage of having the incumbent go, that I don't want to reinvent the wheel. The things that I heard were pretty much along the lines of, why are we as the residents of Richland being made to shoulder the cost of a bridge that everybody's using? So a lot of people were actually more open to the idea of a sales tax because they felt it would be equitable distribution of the pain of paying for the Dupertail Bridge. But I think the other part of the bridge that people were upset about is, I don't know how many people actually wanted it. Everybody understands that there is a problem at Queensgate and something has to be done to alleviate the traffic congestion in that shopping area. And also, on the other side of the bridge on Aaron Drive. Everybody knows that, nobody denies that. But if you look at the 2011 Transportation Discipline Report, when they had an open house, the majority of the people at the open house said, why don't we just fix the existing bridge, and improve that configuration? Why are we building a new bridge? And then 2/3 of the comments from the 2013 report that I could find anyway were also why are we building another bridge? Why don't we fix what we have? So I think that's the other part of the Dupertail Bridge saga that's not being discussed. I think that residents are upset because it's something they don't really understand, why the bridge has to be at Dupertail and then why there's a $20 car tab. So it's not a quick fix.
Thank you. Mr. Becker.
The Dupertail Bridge, I've been doing a lot of talking also. And some people want it and they'll pay for it. Some people want it, but they don't like how it's going to be paid for. And then some people don't want it at all there, they want it off in some other direction. And I was also told that the Dupertail Bridge was not to alleviate congestion or anything of that nature. It was to make a direct line over the river into the city view. I guess that's what they call it over there at city shops, so that they can drive their lawnmowers back over this way. That's what I hear too. I heard that it was being bannered around for about 10 years. Well, if it was being bannered around for 10 years, then they could have made a sinking fund or opened up an annuity of some sort that would help to pay for the bridge. I do not like how this bridge is going to be paid for now. And once I get up on the city council, I will make a motion to delay it. There is a method, another method, and another method of getting this paid for, and certainly where we're sitting at, they can't do it with a sinking fund, and they can't do it with an annuity because they decided they want to do it and didn't leave it to the people of Richland because it would have been DOA right there. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Becker, thank you so much. And thanks to all the candidates. You can give them a big round of applause. Your incumbents, Sandra Kent, Shira Gev, and Lloyd Becker. Thank you all. Excellent job.